Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. We're going to do a quick chat tonight on a subject that is very near to my heart, and that is what can often be the plight of overseas Filipino workers. Just to go over what the importance of these overseas Filipino workers, what the importance is to our country, to the Philippines, is that they are a huge generator of wealth for the Philippines. Now, many countries, Scotland, Ireland, in Europe, have gone through this phase of exporting their people and their skills and talents to other countries, only to suffer very badly. Now, I've had some pretty horrific photos sent to me, still photos of some of the things that are happening to OFWs, and the most alarming one was that there have been set up apparently some agencies which are actually not agencies at all. They're not there to help you as a Filipino or Filipina to get work. Now the thing is that they would appear to be too good to be true, and that's because actually they are too good to be true, and the fate that awaits you if you are not very diligent about checking out people that you are supposedly going to work for. If you don't check out exactly where you're going to be going, and I can't offer any trick ways of verifying a prospective employer. I think that the best thing that you can hope for as by way of a recommendation is that they would give you some indication of people who have gone before you and that they are happy and well. The fate that you may face is horrendous. In fact, it's terminal, because some of these agencies are exporting young, healthy people to other parts of the country where, not this country, other parts of the country that they're importing into, and they are then using them as a storehouse of internal organs, heart transplants, liver, lungs, and of course you pay the ultimate price for that. You die. The other more common thing is that you might be used as slave labor, and possibly you'll get paid, but you may be on call 24/7. So you must be really sure of the conditions of your employment when you take on a job. Now, the other side of this is all sounding very doomy. The other side of this is that I've seen how even from Arab countries, which I tend to doubt very, very much as being a source of good, safe employment for Filipinos especially, and yet I've seen how the children of the Arab families that a Filipina has taken care of for most of their childhood, and has then at the end of her employment returned to live home in the Philippines. And one particular success story was that it was one or two of the children who this Filipina had brought up sought her out and found where she was living and actually flew to the Philippines to meet her. And of course it was filmed, but the spontaneity of the joy that everybody felt of being reunited with their nanny was tangible. So there's a good success story. So there are success stories where a Filipino will go be a caregiver for quite a long time, enjoying stays at home in the Philippines, paid for by the employer, and going back willingly to take care of children entrusted to her care. So that's all to the good. Just make sure that you know where you're going, what the terms of your employment are, and if, even though you might prefer to say, no, I'm not going to look a gift horse, I'm not going to start questioning why they would pay this and pay that for me. You should really. Why would they pay you to go to fly out there when everybody else, every other employer that I've heard of, they generally tend to be really strict on that, and either you have to come up with the money yourself, or you have to take it on loan and pay it out of your wages. And in some cases that I've heard of, you actually don't get any money for many, many weeks until your initial expenses have been met by you. So take it easy, be careful. Now, just to get it back onto a feel-good experience, when Beth and I went to Hong Kong, it just coincided that, I think it was just a pure coincidence, we arrived there at a weekend, and we went to a particular place where we actually met quite a few of our subscribers who came out to meet us. We went to dinner. It was a great experience. We went to a church that our friend Stephen, Hong Kong Stephen, had told us about, and we actually went to the church, and it's Filipinos. Just wonderful welcome, wonderful sense of hospitality, made to feel welcome, people coming over and talking to us and welcoming us to there. And it made me recommend, I hope that there's nobody that is Chinese that's going to take offense here, but what we did notice about Hong Kong was that it was big city rush. And one of the things that saddened me the most is that I didn't see people interacting with each other. I looked around at one point when we were on the subway. Beautiful train system, beautifully clean, efficient, everything just perfect. And I looked around, and because it was a crowded train, my vision, or my depth of field, whatever you want to call it, was quite limited. But I could count something like 15 out of 20 of the people that I could see were engrossed in their cell phone, not in each other. The only people that I saw interacting with each other were, guess what? Filipinos. Now, when we looked at that vacation place, that vacation weekend, that area was flooded with Filipinos, all out, not engrossed on their cell phones. They were out, they'd taken food, they were having meals. Some enterprising Chinese lady had found a great source of huge pieces of cardboard, which she was actually renting out to Filipinos who were making their home in little self-made cubicles, having their food, chatting, listening to music, just hanging out together and just enjoying each other's company. And I didn't see it anywhere else in Hong Kong while I was there. It made me suggest to anyone in a video that followed up, it made me suggest, if you have a vacation planned and you have two major places that you want to go and see, one being Hong Kong and the other one being the Philippines, here's my suggestion. Go to Hong Kong first, because if you go to the Philippines, you will be ruined, because the Filipinos are just legendary in being friendly, especially where we live, which is the province. And a Filipino calls anywhere out of town in a rural setting the province. And we live in the province. We live on Bohol. We live high in the mountains of Burgos, and we actually, apart from the close family whose houses are dotted all around us in a compound style, not very close, but certainly there. And if we need help, if they need help, we're all there for each other. But apart from that, we look out over all of the surrounding areas, 360 degrees. If you look at around, we don't see another single house, and it's a 2-mile walk down to the road. That's the national highway. So we found that the friendliness and the hospitality that we experienced there all came from Filipinos, because Hong Kong is apparently full of overseas Filipino workers who are working quite happily in jobs that they love. But because of our channel, which we have tried to focus on the joys, on the feelings of homesickness that overseas Filipino workers feel, and even though right now this is being presented by a foreigner, my wife Beth is not eye candy. She is here as an equal partner, and her opinion and her contribution is absolutely vital for the success of our channel. So back to our original thought, which was the safety of overseas Filipino workers. My wish would be that in time the government will step in and lay down certain safeguards and rules where whatever happens, a Filipina would be able to make their way in the clothes they stand up in, without their passport, without any identification, present themselves at the Philippine embassy, and they would get help to get home. And that would be my wish, that a safeguard could be there for them, because so often a Filipina who has been abused badly and her passport taken from her, usually in the guise of the employer would say something like, we need to take it in to our embassy and have you registered, so that's why we need your passport. But they never quite ever get round to giving it back. And once your passport is gone, then your ability to travel, escape in some cases, is severely restricted. But if that ever happens to you and your passport is taken, and you really start to feel that you are being abused and are without any access or recourse to help, I don't think it's really true. I think that you can go to your own embassy, the Philippine embassy, and you will be helped. Your passport will be retrieved by the embassy, is how I'm looking at it. That's what you would be able to insist on. So you have things that you can do. You have, for instance, if I was going somewhere and I had any fears about how that would be if I lost my passport, I would follow the rule that I found in Tagbilaran when I went there once, and I was going to have to renew my passport. I was going to be without my passport, so what the heck was I going to do if it took too long to get back? And the embassy, the immigration department in Tagbilaran, made a very good suggestion. They said, if you will photocopy your passport, we will acknowledge that and accept that when you come to renew your visa. So, secreting away somewhere a copy of your passport and your legal entry into any country might be at least a start on ensuring that your safety is going to be a given. So good luck. I wish you well on your stay away, because so many overseas Filipino workers are out there, and well, they're working very hard for their family. Usually 2 or 3 jobs is not unusual, and the money being sent home either to build a house or to support children getting through school. Just a word from my quoting my friend Brian. Brian thinks his take on this about going away, leaving your children with, say, Grandma, Lola, and thinking of the well-being of your children in terms of giving them an education. I wonder if they will ever feel the same way about the fact that they didn't have you and daddy or mommy, and they didn't have you there. I wonder how much they would value you as opposed to having that education that you have prized so highly. I think about that, because sometimes staying in your country and helping to make it the way that it is will require some sacrifices. I hope that you can make them, and let's face it, it takes courage to do that, and not everybody has that aptitude for doing it. Like, some people are good at one kind of job and other people are useless at that. I know that I could never work in any kind of job that required me to be good with figures, because it's just not my aptitude. Like one person that I remember reading of in Facebook, he said, it's not my superpower, not one of my superpowers. Well, certainly adding up accounts and figures and columns of figures would not be a superpower for me at all. So find what you're good at, and if you can possibly do it here and enjoy all of the benefits of your family, I would encourage you to do so. If you're out there and you're looking at this and you enjoy some particular aspect of what Beth and I do, let us know, and don't suffer the nosebleeds, because however you write it, as long as we can understand it, we're not marking it up like a school teacher. So get in touch, and if you want to see a particular kind of country scene, or you want us to cover anything that you missed from your childhood, let us know. And while we're on trying to attract overseas Filipino workers and give them something, we're going to be cruel. We're going to give you something to feel homesick about. Okay? So subscribe and share these videos where people that you know that are your friends, other Filipinos, can see a little touch of home and enjoy that for what it is. So share the video if there is some aspect that you found was maybe even a bit of a tearjerker. So this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for looking. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for sharing and subscribing. Bye for now.